Welcome, Bannerlords. Come hear the tale of Beaumont, the Sheriff of Sargot, a legend with crossbow, mace, and ladies. It was a time of war and banditry. Filthy no-good rats preyed on the villagers while the nobles were away. A man by the name of Beaumont, the mayor of Etterford, had had enough. He headed to town and gathered young men and old veterans alike. They hunted and killed the bandits like boars. And as news of victory after victory against the bandit plague swept through the countryside, all rejoiced for the sheriff from Sargot. And when the king arrived home, he made it official. And the newly appointed sheriff quickly got to work. Bandits were slaughtered, hideouts were burned, and the people flourished. All was well until scandal struck.
I am very angry.
Rumors of forbidden hanky-panky with the daughter of the king. The sheriff, along with some of his best men, split town. They were on the imperial road to Ortesia when a royal messenger arrived. The Valandians were advancing into Empire territory, and Garantor Castle had fallen. Gyarios was willing to pay handsomely to any who would help protect the town of Ortesia. After many hard-fought battles, the sun finally set on the armies of Valandia. Gyarios was pleased his town had been saved, but Beaumont assured him the Valandians would be back. With the Valandian forces in shambles, would it not be better to take the town of Sargot to use as a choke point to protect from future invasions? Gyarios agreed, and the Western Legion marched out. And it was not long before once again Beaumont became the Sheriff of Sargot. Here's a playthrough dedicated to all my Bannerlord bros who love a phenomenal siege defense, and who doesn't, especially over here in Valandia with our Valandian crossbowmen. Just a ton of fun. The whole point of this playthrough is just to build up and protect Sargot. Are we sure about this militiaman? Sure we don't want to let Big Poppy on there? Let's see what you got, big guy. Oh, not bad. You get a medal. Good job, Carl. That's Carl. Once I get strong enough, I just scream freedom, and I break apart, and I see how long I can keep my town independent from the empires of Calradia. Sometimes I go longer than others. The real benefit of this smaller, more focused playthrough is to teach you how to get started as a kingdom, right? Because the hardest part of starting a kingdom is that first phase where you step out on your own and it's just you and your crew before you can recruit nobles and stuff. So this is a great playthrough for those of you who, just don't feel quite as comfortable starting your own kingdom yet. This is going to teach you how to do it and some tricks of the trade to help make that transition a little easier for you. As you can see, though, Big Sargot's going to need some work, right? We're pretty much at Mott and Bailey stage with level 1 walls. Now, the good news here is these walls are already 63% done. I'm going to go ahead and throw a bunch of cash in the reserve because you can see we got a lot to build here. I won't go into any of the fief management right now. I have a whole video on fief management. If you're interested in all of this shit, I walk you through it step by step. But you don't have to play Bannerlord long before you realize that the artillery workshop is really what this is. More than anything on your fief, you want this level 3 siege workshop ASAP. This is the first thing I always build. So the whole goal is just to build this town up, and when you're ready, you establish the Sargot Freedom Force and just defend it from the waves of armies that are going to come take it from you. It's really nice, though, because, you just got these two villages in Sargot here, and there's kind of all these choke points, so it's a pretty good time. The problem with breaking away at clan tier 3 is that you're not eligible to create a kingdom. And if you're not eligible to create a kingdom and you don't create a kingdom, then you can't create armies to help protect your land. So breaking away at clan tier 3 is actually, I think, a very bad idea. You're just not big enough and you don't have the capabilities to really post up a good defense. So I would say at least be clan tier 4, but I really like clan tier 5 the most. And I'll explain it at each step here as we move along. So now that we've got the fief, we get our projects going. And now we're going to roll around here and mop everything up. Now, when you first start out with this build, of course, you can't reload your crossbow on horseback. So you got to dismount and fight from foot for the first little bit until you get your crossbow skill leveled up. And you just try to level it as fast as you can. I like to always keep the nobles as prisoners. That's going to force the other faction to pay your faction more in tribute. The more nobles you capture and the more nobles you hold, because they're going to capture nobles too. Hopefully you can capture more, but I like to just capture them and throw them in the dungeon. Sometimes they get away, whatever. They go recruit an army full of low-level troops and bring it in here for you to kill. There's worse things, right? So it's not such a big deal. Play defensive, and then eventually the factions will declare peace. One of the things we want to start doing right away is building up our stash. So I'm going to come into this grain village and I'm going to buy all this grain, all this food. All right. So you go to keep and you open your stash. What's this stash good for? Well, it's good for storing a lot of things. You could put your blacksmith supplies in here. You could put extra horses you get in case your party gets wiped. And then you've got a bunch of horses you can just throw back in your group and get started again. There's a lot of great things to do with your stash, but another great thing to do with your stash is store a ton of food. And I'm just going to put all my fish and grain in here. We're going to start building our stash just like that. And every once in a while, you just go buy some food. You can go to other towns like over here at Jacqueline and just go buy all their grain, buy everything. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that now. We're going to head that way. And I'm just going to come buy all this food right here. There we go. We tucked all that food away in our stash. Once I've got my stash in my town squared away, I'd like to get to letting everybody know there's a new sheriff in town. I don't know where these goddamn forest bandits get off thinking they're coming through Sargot County, but not on Sheriff Beaumont's watch, they're not. You could also buy yourself a wife during peacetime. And look at my beautiful Azila. With those birthing hips. Are you kidding me? This woman's going to bear me sons that use ballistas as crossbows. How I love thee, my Azila. And actually, she's a pretty good shot. When you're in the earlier part of the game, all I do is I just do basically a massive patrol through Valandian lands. Then I come back and I break all the stuff down and use my smithing and level up my blacksmithing. Sell all that stuff. And then I go hit another patrol. And if you need wood for blacksmithing, there's a wood village right here. Hand out tools to the villagers. I feel like that's something the sheriff might do. My favorite thing to do as a sheriff, of course, is the greatest quest in all of questing, the caravan ambush. Is there anything better than a bunch of bandits charging directly at your forces? Especially with all these crossbowmen? Pour it on them, boys. Doing such a good job. Now, I don't know if you heard the disgusting rumor that Sheriff Beaumont and his men would attack enemy caravans deep in the woods. Obviously, it's fake news spread by Battanian media to make the sheriff look bad. I mean, just find one person that would testify to that. I bet you don't. A lot of crossbow bolts to buy and a lot of mouths to feed. You know what I mean? And what, it's my fault some caravan goes running off, gets lost in the woods? That's on me? Please. Don't listen to the nasty rumors, family. You guys know how awesome the sheriff is and who's looking out for you. And so you just fight bandits and enemy armies or whatever you do and just keep building up the town, building up your stash. And now we hit clan tier 4, and this is when you can finally create a kingdom. However, I always suggest you wait until clan tier 5, but you can officially do it at clan tier 4, and it can be kind of fun, especially like I said, if you just want to do a bunch of siege defense, which can be a pretty good time. So we'll go ahead and just leave the kingdom. It's no big deal. Gary will be cool about it, I'm sure. The first thing you want to do when you declare yourself an independent kingdom is farm up 100 influence. I don't care if you do it on bandits or enemy armies or whatever you got to do. You get 100 influence and you enact the Royal Guard policy. That's going to increase your personal party by 60, which is going to help a lot. So remember when I told you guys Gary was going to be cool about me leaving the kingdom and keeping Sargon for myself? Turns out he's not going to be that cool about it. But here we go. You know, this is the whole playthrough right here. Now, obviously, there's no chance for me to take this army in the field. We're going to have to break them on the walls here. But let me give you a little food for thought. So I'm going to come in here and we'll just wait. And here they come. Okay, and they're going to lay siege right away. Now look right here. They have 30 days of food, and my crew only has 14 days of food. I think we can all agree that having 14 days of food really sucks when your enemy has 30 days of food. But let's back up in time and pretend that you had listened to Sheriff Beaumont when he told you start filling up the stash. Because then you can come into town and you're going to go to your stash, and look, we got all this goodies saved up for the crew here. And then we're going to trade with the town, open it up, and we're just going to give them all our fish and grain. We'll keep the meat, butter, and cheese. Me and the boys will go keto for a bit. I still have 55 days of food, right? That's plenty because we know the enemy's going to have about 30, anywhere between 24 to 32. I've seen up to 36. That's a pretty good range you can count on. And we're going to sell that to them. And now look at the situation. You ain't starving me out. They got 30 days. I got 52 days. When it comes to the siege engines, you just hope for the best. I mean, sometimes they get those Trebs up and running and they just start wrecking you. Hopefully they won't build Trebs here. We'll see. Uh-oh, here we go. This could get real. This is very common, that the AI will send an army to lay siege and wear you down, hopefully starve out your garrison, and then they come in with another army and hit you with the big load. Ready or not, here they come, and now it's time for the fun, and this is the whole purpose of this playthrough. You can see all the crossbowmen we got. I love these guys, especially in siege defense. Are you kidding me? If it's early in the siege and you've taken some shots like the sheriff here, and you don't want to be up there taking more, but you want to find a great place to level your crossbow skill, let me show you my favorite. You come into these Valandian keeps, and most of them have this. It's really cool. It's like a crossbow slot right here. Now, I would go ahead and re-enable your battle UI. You can sit right here and just pump. And that guy's kind of pumping too. If this guy gets in your way, just shoot him. Seriously. Right, and you can just level your crossbow skill right here. Long story short, we barely hold them off, but we did, and they sue for peace. We'll go ahead and take that. But Gary just couldn't let the betrayal go, and he came back at me in 30 days. But one look, and you can see we've got some nice new Tier 3 walls. Plus, my engineering's a little higher now. I got a feeling this one's going to get really ugly for them. And this is the best part of this playthrough, is just having a blast doing all these siege defenses. What if I throw it out there at you guys, huh? Bombs away! Boom! Yeah! Here we go, big guys. Oh, they're bringing a bunch in. We're going to hold this one, and we're going to hit them. Are they down here? They're climbing this wall, though, aren't they? Are they coming down here doing that? Oh, there you go. Huh? You fuckers want it? There you go. The fire, you little pieces of shit. Hit them. Hit them. We're going to hit the few more crossbows out of the way. Don't you ever come to my town. Now, we want to take everyone prisoner. That's the key thing. You take everyone prisoner. And I mean, you grab all these prisoners. Always grab all of the food because remember, we're probably going to have to refill our stash. Then when we return to Sargot, what we want to do is we actually want to go to the dungeon. We want to manage prisoners because you'll actually have a bunch of prisoners in here too. So we're going to move everybody over here and then we're just going to put all the nobles over here, right? So that's all the Western Empire nobles I captured. And you can see I've got 35 grand in prisoners. And then we run around and mop them up. Whoever we capture, we throw back in the jail. Then once you clean all this up and there's no one else and you're kind of waiting for that next big army to come, what I would do is I would either run over to Jacqueline or buy, go to these villages, go up here to this grain village, and I'd buy a bunch more grain and refill my stash. How we doing on the stash here? Yeah, well, okay, so my stash is pretty loaded still. It's not going to take you long to level your clan tier up very quickly winning these massive siege battles. Remember, my suggestion is do not break off into your own kingdom until you are clan tier 5. Because once you are clan tier 5, not only can you use this royal guard decree, but you can also add noble retinues to it, which is going to increase the size of your party further because tier 5 clans lose an influence a day, but you get 40 more troops. So between royal guard and noble retinues, your own personal party will have 100 more troops, which is an obvious, very sizable increase, especially when you considered that the majority of your army is going to be decked out elite troops. On top of that, you go ahead and establish some clan parties too. And what they're going to do is they're going to run around and police your lands. And once you have a massive personal army and all these other parties in your clan helping you out, now you're powerful enough to go ahead and just challenge your foes in the field. And that's nice because you don't always have to worry about dishing out all the grain and keeping your stash up and stuff like that. However, if they send a giant 1,500-man party, then we all hop into Sargot and wait them out, right? Because my stash has tens of thousands of grain in it now. This is a great theme for a Rodok playthrough where you kind of just defend Sargot, and as you crush the Valandians on your walls, then you can counterattack and then maybe even start recruiting people to your faction. It's really a good way to do it. And I gotta tell you, this build is really unique. It's a lot of fun. You got the crossbow, and this mace actually swings pretty quickly. And boy, this blunt damage is impressive. But, and shooting from horseback is kind of fun because you just got like this platform you're gunning from. Of course, you don't have the shield, so you do have to be careful. But I will say, with enough armor and perks, it's less of a problem. You can see I'm not getting too lit up here, but you do have to be careful. I mean, look, you just set your archers up on the hill, and we're gunning in. Plus, I'm buffing up all these crossbowmen crazy-like. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I don't like to blow a lot of my rounds early. Remember, with high-level crossbow, you can reload any crossbow from horseback. Here you cut the mounted accuracy penalty in half. And then one of my favorite perks in the game, Hammer Bolts, gives you a 50% chance of dismounting enemy cavalry with a heavy hit from your crossbow. And that's pretty much the only type of hit that comes out of your crossbow. Also, you'll see you add 10% damage to all of your crossbowmen as a captain. And then what you can do is you just come in here with your crossbow, see, when all the cavalry are in here, and you just start gunning people down. And you're either going to kill them, or you have a very high chance of knocking them off like that. See, he's still alive, but he got popped, and there's another one. And so I kind of like to save my rounds to take out the cavalry, because that's kind of the greatest risk. And it shoots hard into armor, so even if you don't knock them down or kill them, they're weakened up pretty good. And I really like to hit the well-armored knights. There we go, another knockdown. So you can see I like to just save my rounds for this part of the battle, so I feel like this is my maximum contribution, is just taking all these knights out. And then once you give on all the DACA fire, we've leveled up the crossbow, then you pull out the big bonk and you get to work with that. Do remember the enemy of your enemy is your friend, and do try to be opportunistic when you can. I would have a hard time taking this 1,000-man Valandian army by myself, but if I let them wear themselves out in this siege just a little bit, and now I hit them, it's a whole nother ball game. And I love this battlefield so much. Here's what we're gonna do, actually. We're going right at them. Hold your fire. I don't want y'all shooting until it's time. These assholes will spend every bolt I give them. Start firing like 200 meters away. Let's go, infantry. Get down there. Archers, get set up. This is where you got to be careful. And here comes the enemy cav. Get ready to give them that hammer bolt. Sit down. Oh, this is going to be a good battle. This is going to be a good one, I can tell. And we just need to take some good shots. Try to make everyone count while our guys get in position here. I probably should have hung back. I kind of got a little greedy at the start. But my army is so decked out at this point. We just got tons of money, tons of power, and having tons of fun with all those siege defenses, you know? I mean, it's just so hard. If they can't starve you out, they have a real hard time. All right, let's regroup here and get everybody set up. We should have plenty of bolts to really start making these guys work. Hopefully we can bring them back down. I still got some bolts left too. We'll wait and just let our guys pump them. We'll just let the boys pump them. And you know what? Let's just go ahead. So we're just going to go ahead and keep leveling up that crossbow skill as best we can. Sheriff Beaumont wants to remind all the Bannerlords that it's defense that wins championships. And don't you forget it. If you're looking to have some good time playing a little tower defense, then this is the playthrough for you. And here we are with a very powerful army and a lot of money. I can see some very interesting opportunities in the future for the Sargot Freedom Force. Have fun out there. Oklahoma out.